a creature born from fire, healed by its own tears, and reborn from ash. The phoenix is not just rare, it is sacred. Its body is large and majestic, with scarlet feathers and a golden tail that seems to shimmer with its own inner light. But the true magic of the phoenix is not in how it looks, but in what it represents: renewal, healing, and hope. Phoenix tears are among the most powerful substances in the wizarding world. They can cure even the deadliest of wounds, reversing poisons that no other remedy can touch. The most famous example, basilisk venom, lethal within moments, undone in seconds by a single tear. And then there is the phoenix's song, a sound that fills listeners with courage, lifting hearts in the face of darkness. Where fear reigns, the phoenix sings hope. But the greatest power of all is its cycle of death and rebirth. When age or injury overcomes it, the bird bursts into flame, collapsing into ash. From that ash rises a fledgling, fragile but alive, beginning the cycle once again. No other creature demonstrates so clearly that endings and beginnings are one and the same. In Harry Potter's story, we know one phoenix above all: Fawkes, companion to Albus Dumbledore. It was Fawkes who brought the sorting hat to Harry inside the Chamber of Secrets, who blinded the basilisk, and who healed Harry's mortal wound with his tears. Later, he carried Harry to safety, wings beating against the shadows of death. And when Dumbledore fell, Fawkes sang a lament so powerful, it silenced Hogwarts itself. And then he left. Not a pet, not a servant, but a myth vanishing into history. Beyond the story, the phoenix draws on ancient legend, where it has long symbolized immortality, the sun, and the eternal cycle of destruction and rebirth. Rowling tied those myths directly into her world, shaping the phoenix as a creature that cannot be tamed, only answered. For a phoenix does not obey. It chooses its master rarely, and only when purpose outweighs power. It is not commanded, it responds. The phoenix is no servant, it is a sign. Where it appears, destiny itself has arrived. Half eagle, half horse, and fully proud. The hippogriff is one of the most striking magical creatures in the wizarding world, a being that demands not just admiration, but respect. Its front half is the sharp, fierce body of a giant eagle, with talons that can pierce armor and wings wide enough to darken the ground below. The back half is that of a powerful horse, built for speed and strength, a creature born of two natures, sky and earth. But its most important trait is not physical. It is pride. A hippogriff will never allow disrespect. The first rule is simple: bow. If it bows back, you are safe to approach. Fail to show respect, and you may not walk away. We see this lesson vividly in Harry Potter's third year when Hagrid introduces the class to Buckbeak. At first, the students are nervous. Malfoy mocks the ritual, ignoring the warning, and pays the price with a slash of Buckbeak's talons. Harry, however, bows with humility, and Buckbeak accepts him. That moment is more than a classroom exercise. It reveals how hippogriffs test the heart of a wizard. Courage without arrogance, confidence without cruelty. Only then will they allow you onto their back, and once in the air, no broom can match their flight. Buckbeak carried Harry across the skies, rescued Sirius Black from the tower, and later lived under the protection of Hagrid. But even when bonded, a hippogriff is never truly tamed. It is partnership, not possession. Hippogriffs eat meat, hunt with deadly precision, and are powerful enough to strike fear even into seasoned wizards. Yet despite their danger, they are not monsters. They are guardians of respect, reflections of how wizards treat the creatures around them. In many ways, the hippogriff stands as a mirror. Approach with arrogance and you will be struck down. Approach with honor and you will soar. The hippogriff is not a beast of burden. It is a test. Those who pass are rewarded with loyalty and flight. Those who fail are left on the ground, reminded that pride cuts deeper than claws. Small in size, immense in power, House-Elves are among the most misunderstood beings in the wizarding world. With large eyes, thin bodies, and voices often trembling with submission, they appear fragile. But beneath that exterior lies magic, both ancient and unmatched. House-Elves can perform spells without wands. They can apparate inside Hogwarts itself, bypassing protections that defeat the greatest wizards. They enchant objects, clean castles, and even fight in battle with devastating effect. Their power is extraordinary, yet it is bound, not by nature, but by law. For centuries, House-Elves have been enslaved to wizarding families, bound to serve, bound to obey, punished if they resist. The magic that makes them strong has been twisted into chains. The best-known House-Elf is Dobby. Once enslaved by the Malfoy family, he was forced to carry out orders against his will, punished brutally for even small acts of disobedience. And yet, Dobby defied them. He warned Harry Potter, tried to save his life, and in the end won his freedom through a simple gift, a sock. Kreacher, the Black family's elf, shows the other side. Loyal to the memory of his masters, bitter and cruel, shaped by years of mistreatment. Only when Harry treated him with dignity did Kreacher's loyalty shift, transforming him from a resentful servant into a trusted ally in the fight against Voldemort. Through them, we see the truth. House-Elves reflect the morality of their masters. Treated with kindness, they give unwavering loyalty. Treated with cruelty, they become twisted by it. Despite their servitude, House-Elves are not weak. Dobby once defied Lucius Malfoy himself, blasting him backwards with raw magic, wandless and unrestrained. Years later, he returned to save Harry and his friends from Malfoy Manor, paying the ultimate price for his loyalty. Dobby died a free elf, buried with honor by those he had saved. In the Battle of Hogwarts, dozens of elves fought with kitchen knives enchanted by their own magic, striking fear into trained wizards. But the tragedy of House-Elves is not their power, it is their chains. They are proof that the wizarding world, for all its talk of justice, built itself on hidden slavery. The legacy of House-Elves is a warning. Magic without freedom is still a prison, and every sock, every act of kindness is not just a gift. It is rebellion. 8 legs, 8 eyes, and intelligence as sharp as their fangs. The acromantula is no ordinary spider. Bred by wizards, feared by all, it is a creature of the deepest shadows. These enormous arachnids grow to the size of a small car. Their venom is deadly, their hair thick and bristling, their eyes black and glistening with hunger. They can even speak human language, though what they say is rarely comforting. The Ministry of Magic gives them its highest rating, 5 X's, a classification reserved only for creatures known to kill wizards and impossible to domesticate. In short, they are predators, not pets. The most famous acromantula is Aragog, raised by Hagrid in secret during his years as a student at Hogwarts. Accused of opening the Chamber of Secrets, Aragog was hidden away in the Forbidden Forest, where he grew into the patriarch of a colony. When Harry and Ron met him in their second year, they discovered the truth. Aragog had not been the monster from the chamber, but he was still a monster. Though he respected Hagrid and refused to harm him, his children did not share that loyalty. To the colony, Harry and Ron were prey, nothing more. Only the flying car of Arthur Weasley saved them from being devoured alive. Aragog's death years later brought no safety. His children swarmed in grief and hunger, descending on the Battle of Hogwarts, ready to tear apart friend and foe alike. Acromantulas are not evil by choice, but they are predators without mercy. They do not feel gratitude, only hunger. Their voices make them unsettlingly human, but their instincts remain that of the spider: hunt, kill, consume. Their venom is one of the most valuable substances in the magical world, vital for advanced potions, yet so rare and dangerous that few dare to harvest it. The acromantula stands as a warning. Not all creatures in the wizarding world can be tamed. Not all monsters can be turned into allies. Some exist only to remind us that the forest has fangs, and that fear is sometimes justified. A serpent born of dark magic, hatched from a chicken's egg beneath a toad. This is the basilisk, the king of serpents. It can grow to over 50 feet in length, with scales like iron and eyes that gleam a poisonous green. Its gaze alone is fatal. One look into its eyes brings instant death. Indirect contact, like through a reflection or the water of a puddle, causes petrification instead. A living death, cold and unmoving. The Ministry of Magic ranks it XXXXX, its highest danger rating, reserved only for creatures impossible to control. But in truth, the basilisk is worse than that. It is not just dangerous, it is a weapon. The most infamous basilisk lived beneath Hogwarts itself, placed there by Salazar Slytherin 1,000 years ago. It was meant to purge the school of Muggleborns, unleashed only by his true heir. For centuries it lay dormant, until Tom Riddle, the boy who would become Voldemort, found it and commanded it to kill. In Harry's second year, the Chamber of Secrets was opened once again. The basilisk stalked the castle, petrifying victims but leaving them alive thanks to chance reflections, a camera lens, a puddle, nearly headless Nick. Its venom, however, remained lethal, coursing with a poison that even advanced magic could not cure. When Harry faced it deep in the chamber, the monster revealed its full terror, fangs the size of swords, a body thicker than a tree, and eyes that could kill with a glance. Yet even the basilisk met its match. With the Sorting Hat, Harry drew the Sword of Gryffindor. He drove it through the serpent's mouth, piercing brain and skull. But not without cost. One fang stabbed into Harry's arm, its venom burning through him, certain death, until Fawkes the Phoenix healed him with tears. Even in death, the basilisk remained deadly. Its fangs retained their venom, capable of destroying Horcruxes, objects designed to anchor a soul. It was with one of those very fangs that Harry and his friends destroyed Tom Riddle's diary, the first Horcrux to fall. The basilisk is not simply a beast, it is a symbol of corruption, a monster born to kill, bound to prejudice, and wielded as a weapon of fear. Its eyes remind us that some evils do not strike with noise or fire, but with a single look. Massive wings, armored scales, and fire hotter than any forge. Dragons are the most iconic magical beasts in the wizarding world, feared, studied, and revered across every culture. They belong to the Ministry's highest classification, 5X. Known wizard killers, impossible to domesticate. Even the strongest enchantments are barely enough to restrain them. Their claws can shred stone, their jaws crush bone, and their flames melt iron. Across the world, dragons exist in many breeds. The Hungarian horntail, considered the most dangerous, with black scales and spikes along its tail. The Norwegian ridgeback, infamous for breathing fire at an unusually young age. The Chinese fireball, crimson and golden, famed for its majestic appearance and mushroom-shaped flame. The Swedish short snout, silvery blue and highly prized for its skin, which can deflect most spells. And the Welsh green, less aggressive, yet still terrifying in combat. Dragons are not just killers, they are woven into wizarding culture. Dragon blood has 12 known magical uses, discovered by Albus Dumbledore himself. Their heartstrings are powerful wand cores, producing wands known for raw magical strength. Their skin is used for armor, their liver and horn in potions, their eggs considered Class A non-tradable goods. Every part of the dragon is valuable, but harvesting it is deadly. In Britain, dragon breeding has been outlawed since the Middle Ages. Yet dragon reserves still exist, hidden far from Muggle eyes. The most famous is in Romania, where Charlie Weasley works to study and protect them. There, dragons are not tamed. They are contained, respected, and sometimes relocated when they stray too close to human lands. Despite these protections, dragons are still exploited. Their parts fetch fortunes on the black market. Their eggs are considered delicacies in some regions, even though owning one is a serious crime. The Triwizard Tournament showed just how deadly dragons could be. In the first task, champions faced them directly, tasked with stealing a golden egg from a nesting mother. Harry confronted the Hungarian horntail, barely surviving its flames and talons with his broomstick. Each champion emerged scarred, proving that even the greatest witches and wizards could not truly defeat a dragon, only escape it. But perhaps the most revealing truth is this. Dragons cannot be trained, yet they are not mindless. They are highly intelligent, capable of strategy, memory, and recognition. Some researchers even argue that dragons display a sense of pride, attacking with more fury when threatened near their young. Dragons are the ultimate paradox of the magical world. Too powerful to be controlled, too valuable to ignore, too dangerous to approach, and too magnificent to forget. They are not simply beasts. They are living fire, reminders that nature itself can rival any dark wizard in strength, and that some enemies are not fought, but survived. Skeletal bodies, leathery wings, and eyes that seem to see straight through you. These are Thestrals, the most misunderstood creatures in the wizarding world. To most witches and wizards, Thestrals are invisible. They can only be seen by those who have witnessed death, not just seen it, but truly understood it. For everyone else, they appear as nothing more than empty air, pulling carriages that seem to move on their own. This strange condition has given them a grim reputation. For centuries, Thestrals were considered omens of misfortune, symbols of death and tragedy. But the truth is far more complicated. Thestrals are not cursed. They are gentle by nature, loyal to those who treat them with respect. Despite their frightening appearance, they are intelligent, trainable, and remarkably dependable in flight. Their sense of direction is unmatched. Once given a destination, they can find it with eerie accuracy, no matter how far or hidden. It was on Thestrals that Harry Potter and his friends flew from Hogwarts to the Ministry of Magic in their 5th year. Only those who had seen death, Harry, Luna Lovegood, Neville Longbottom, could see them. Others, like Ron and Hermione, clung to what looked like empty air. The creatures carried them across the night sky, silent and sure, reminders that death was not absence, but presence. Thestrals feed on raw meat, live in herds, and nest deep in the Forbidden Forest. They are classified as 4X by the Ministry of Magic. Dangerous if provoked, but safe under proper care. At Hogwarts, Hagrid tends to them, proving that even the most feared creatures can be allies when understood. Their symbolism runs deeper than their wings. Thestrals teach that death is not the end, but a truth to be acknowledged. To see them is not a curse, it is clarity. They are not monsters. They are guides. guides to what has been lost and to the strength found in surviving it. They glide without sound, cloaked in darkness, their very presence draining the world of light and warmth. These are Dementors, the living embodiment of despair. A Dementor does not need to touch you to harm you. Simply being near one is enough. Happiness fades, memories of joy vanish, and in their place comes cold, emptiness, and fear. Victims often hear echoes of their worst moments, as though the creature forces them to relive trauma again and again. They feed not on flesh, but on hope. The more they consume, the weaker their target becomes, until nothing is left but misery. The Ministry of Magic once used Dementors as guards of Azkaban, believing that their presence alone would keep prisoners broken and obedient. In truth, it was torture. Many inmates lost their minds entirely, consumed not by punishment, but by despair. The Dementor's ultimate weapon is the kiss. With one breath, they can suck out a soul, leaving the body alive but empty, a shell without thought or identity. Worse than death because there is no return. The person is gone forever. Only one defense exists. The Patronus Charm, a spell that summons pure, concentrated positive memory, forming a guardian of light. Few wizards can cast it, and even fewer can hold it against a swarm. Harry Potter, unusually skilled, learned it in his 3rd year, a necessity, for Dementors were drawn to him more than most. Dementors cannot be killed, for they are not truly alive. They can only be driven back. After Voldemort's rise, many turned from Azkaban to join him, drawn to his promise of chaos and darkness. Their loyalty was never to law, only to hunger. Their very existence is symbolic. Dementors are depression given form, reminders that some battles are not fought with wands, but within the mind. To face them is to confront emptiness itself, and to survive one must summon light from memory, hope against despair. They are not soldiers, not monsters, not even spirits. They are hunger without end, shadows with teeth. And wherever they drift, silence follows, as though the world itself has stopped breathing. Towering over 20 feet tall, with skin like stone and fists that can crush boulders, giants are among the most feared creatures in the wizarding world. Their raw strength alone places them beyond the reach of most magic. A single blow from a giant can kill instantly, and their tempers are legendary. But giants are not simply brutes. They are a people, with their own language, culture, and fragile alliances. Once, thousands of them roamed the mountains of Europe. Today, only a few dozen remain, driven to the edge of extinction by centuries of war, mistrust, and persecution. The Ministry of Magic classifies them as 5X, impossible to control, dangerous to all around them. Yet behind that rating lies a more complicated truth. The decline of the giants began long before Harry Potter's time. Wizards feared them, fought them, and drove them into remote mountain valleys. Within their own ranks, giants warred endlessly for dominance, with chieftains rising and falling in brutal succession. Their numbers dwindled not from weakness, but from division. When Voldemort rose to power, he sought them out. Promising freedom and power, he recruited many into his army, unleashing them in battle. Entire villages were destroyed under their fists and clubs. In contrast, Dumbledore attempted diplomacy, sending Hagrid and Madame Maxime as envoys to win them over. But years of mistreatment had left most giants unwilling to trust. One rare exception was Grop, Hagrid's half-brother. Smaller than most giants, though still immense, he was brought to Hogwarts by Hagrid in the hope of teaching him another way. Though often violent and difficult, Grop showed flashes of gentleness, especially toward Hermione. Giants are a tragedy of the magical world. Feared for their size, hunted for their danger, and divided by their own violence, they became easy prey for dark wizards. And yet, they are not without dignity. They mourn their dead, honor strength, and value loyalty within their clans. The wizarding world sees them as monsters, but their story is one of loss, of a people forced into extinction by fear and war. Giants remind us that not every enemy is born evil. Some are shaped by the hatred around them, and in their towering shadows lies a question the wizarding world never answered. What might have happened if, instead of fear, they had been met with understanding? Under the full moon, the curse awakens. Flesh tears, bones twist, and a human becomes a beast. This is the werewolf, one of the darkest afflictions in the wizarding world. Unlike most magical creatures, werewolves are not born, but made. A single bite from an infected werewolf can spread the curse, transforming the victim into a monster every full moon. During the transformation, the human mind is lost. They hunt anything in their path, friend, foe, even family. The condition is permanent. There is no cure. Potions like Wolfsbane can help the victim keep their mind, but only if brewed perfectly and taken regularly. Miss a dose, and the beast takes over again. Werewolves are classified as 5X by the Ministry of Magic, but their tragedy is deeper than danger. Because they live most of the month as ordinary humans, they face constant prejudice. Many are denied work, shunned by society, and forced into poverty. This discrimination often drives them into the arms of dark wizards, who promise them power in exchange for loyalty. 2 werewolves stand out in Harry Potter's story. Remus Lupin, bitten as a child, grew into a man of compassion and wisdom, proving that the curse does not define the person. As a professor, he showed Harry how to defend against Dementors and stood as one of his greatest allies. Fenrir Greyback is the opposite, a sadistic predator who reveled in spreading the curse, targeting children deliberately to terrorize families. He fought alongside Voldemort, turning his pack into weapons of fear. The story of the werewolf is a story of stigma. Society sees them only as monsters, forgetting the human being trapped inside. For every greyback who embraces the beast, there is a Lupin who resists it, carrying the weight of the curse in silence. In the end, werewolves remind us that monsters are not always born. Sometimes they are made, by violence, by prejudice, by fear. They are not just beasts of the moon. They are mirrors of humanity's cruelty, forced to live between 2 worlds, never fully accepted by either. And every full moon the question returns, which side will win, the man or the monster? The wizarding world is filled with creatures, some born from myth, some from nightmare. We've met only a handful, and yet there are far more waiting in shadows, hidden in forests, or lost to time. What we know is only the surface. The rest is still out there.